Hello and welcome to this episode of Hampton Roads Business Live. My name is Rory Graham and I'm your host, and today we have the pleasure of having with us Misty Leinberger from analyzemyworkflow.com. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you here today. Give us an overview. What is analyzemyworkflow.com?
All right, analyzemyworkflow.com is a firm that provides accounting, payroll, bookkeeping services, particularly advanced accounting and advanced bookkeeping services. But we also work with the client very, very closely to create efficient workflow processes that allow us to work easier with them and for them to work easier within their own departments.
Okay, and how long have you all been around?
Actually, 3 years in February.
Okay, all right. And I'm sure this is a busy time of year for you.
Very, very busy.
We're sitting here at tax time, by the way. All right, so can you go through the major services that you offer?
Absolutely.
Primary service?
Again, advanced accounting services.
Which would be?
Which would be working with the client so that they know how to actually extrapolate the information and use it for managerial decisions.
Okay.
So we have the advanced accounting, we have the advanced bookkeeping, and that's because you really can't have one without the other. And I like to think that what we give the client is above and beyond what they would get from a typical bookkeeping service.
Okay.
And then we have payroll, and in that we have partnered with a local company for payroll services, so we can offer that directly through my company.
Okay.
And then obviously the workflow analysis, planning, and implementation.
Okay, so you work with companies through analyzing their numbers.
Yes.
To help them make decisions,
Exactly.
better decisions. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, that's a valuable service. Okay, so I think it's kind of obvious, but can you explain the name Analyze My Workflow?
Absolutely.
It's easy to remember.
It is very easy to remember, and it's simply easier to remember than what my original company was, Integrated Administration Solutions. But a third-party perspective noticed that what my firm offers is significantly more than just accounting and bookkeeping, because we work so closely with these business owners to make sure that their processes are where they need to be.
Well, you know, I've had several people in here that do some similar things in the accounting area, but I haven't had anybody talk about it the way you are.
Right.
You know, so that is where you stand out different. Okay. So tell me, what type of clients do you have? I mean, are they small companies or large companies or?
Always small companies,
Okay.
and it runs the gamut. I have lawyers, I have other CPAs, I have contractors.
You have other CPAs?
I do,
Really?
yes. They very often outsource bookkeeping services to me.
I see, okay.
Yes. So there really isn't a specific industry that I necessarily, cater to,
Right.
but definitely small businesses, 10 or less employees is kind of where my niche is.
All right, and are these just in Hampton Roads, or
Yes.
can they be anywhere?
I want to stay local, so I like to
Okay,
just
stay
work
local.
within the local community.
All right. Well, do you have a favorite industry that you like to work with?
I actually do. I love general contracting. It's a lot of fun.
Really?
There's some challenge in it. Most general contractors really just want to give you the work and please fix it for me.
Right.
So, I specialize in job costing, so I'm able to provide them with a lot of information they didn't have before, and I
Okay.
feel, appreciated and they enjoy it. So.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
That's good. All right, and I know I spoke to you, and I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. So you're not a CPA, right?
Right, I am
Okay.
not a CPA. I'm
Okay.
as close as you're going to get to a CPA without actually having one, but I do have partnerships with CPAs in the area.
Okay, and the difference between you and a CPA then is?
I have not sat for the exam.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, so the next question I had here was, how long have you worked in the accounting and administrative fields?
23 years.
Yeah, and I couldn't believe that. So really, it's 23 years.
23
Wow.
years.
Oh, okay. And did it start off as that other company name and then it changed names, or?
No, I
No?
started off working for other people. I actually worked in the
okay.
industry as I worked my way through college. I just have a natural ability to understand it and work with it, and so
I
I
see.
always have.
Well, you sound like you like it.
I enjoy it. I do.
Well, it's good to be doing something you really like. What is the most difficult thing that have you found about being in a business of your own?
Well,
that isn't on the list.
it's not on the list, but it's okay. And there's a couple of different things. One is showing other small businesses that I'm an investment rather than a cash outflow,
Right.
that I'm actually going to help them make money. The other one is HR. It's not my favorite thing, but I have people who work for me, and I've been lucky enough to find the right people who work with me and help me, give the quality that I have. But that's my least favorite part, is being the one who's responsible for, the employees who work under me. So.
Right. And I was going to say, you're not a one-person operation.
No, not at all.
Okay, all right. Okay, and so I guess one of the things people want to know is, well, how much does something like your services run them? How I know that's probably a really complex question depending upon what they want, but what
Right.
on the average?
On the average, you're looking at about $250 to $300 a month, and that's for some pretty basic bookkeeping. Of course, once you start adding payroll in, job costing, anything that has to do with inventory, and it gets more complex, then obviously the amount goes up. But you can, my packages start at $250 a month.
Well, I think that most business owners realize that their time is better spent doing the things that they're good at and the things that only they can do.
Exactly.
And so that's where hiring, outsourcing, I know I don't do mine. So anyway, so you've mentioned this a little bit, but about how you're valuable to businesses. Can you give us an example? You don't have to name names, but could you give us an example of where your input has been valuable to a company?
Absolutely. Recently, I had some clients, and they own 3 companies, so I helped them with all 3 companies. And they were having some issues on how the CPA was managing the numbers, because I was in there several times a week, going through their books, making sure everything was accurate, and the CPA was not explaining things to them in a language that they could understand, no matter, they hadn't asked them the correct questions, they hadn't given them the correct information, and then when they did hand them information, they had no idea what to do with it, no idea how they could make better decisions with it. But that was okay, because I was there to walk them through all of that, duplicate their numbers and show them that they weren't crazy. So and it's very rewarding to be able to help somebody who's trying to buy a house, and which is hard for small business owners because they're self-employed.
Right.
But be able to show accurate numbers and explain exactly where they came from and make them feel better at the end of the day, that's a huge I'm thankful to be able to do that, to relieve some of the stress.
Well, that sounds like one of your most favorite part of the business.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you were going to, this wasn't on the list either, but if you were going to give advice, since you're in the business of helping other businesses, if you were going to give advice to business people thinking about getting in business, any kind of business, what are the top 3 things you think they ought to take a really close look at or consider if they're thinking about getting in business? Because a lot of people are nowadays.
Right.
Because job market's not there.
Absolutely. 1, look at your credit score. I know that sounds crazy, but whether or not you're going to be able to fund your business ventures and get that capital up in the front end, your credit score, that's huge. Number 2, do your research. Look at what the industry standards, not only nationally, but regionally as well, of where your business should be going and what it should be doing. Right. And 3, do your best not to start a business up with $0. Try to have some sort of upfront investment to help you get you through at least the first 6 months. Because
businesses, I understand that cash flow is one of the major killers of businesses initially.
It's a huge problem, and it's a problem on a lot of different levels. Small business owners, they can show a profit but have no cash flow because they're spending the money for their personal stuff, and that doesn't show up on their income statement and has no impact on taxes.
Right.
Or they have sent out a bunch of invoices, so there's plenty of earned income, just none of that has hit the bank yet. So yeah, it's pretty tough.
Well, you sound very passionate about what you do.
I
am.
am.
Like you got a lot of, really enjoy it.
I'm passionate about doing it right.
Yeah. Also, every time I talk to accountants, they talk about doing it right and being so accurate. I remember a bit Bob Newhart did where he said he started off as an accountant, but his philosophy was, as long as you're within 10, 15 cents of it, pretty good. And that didn't fly very well, so he didn't stay accountant very long. Okay. Is there anything that I haven't talked about?
I don't think so. I think we've done a great job
We
here.
do? Okay,
Yeah.
so we've covered it pretty good. Well, it sounds like you really are certainly into what you do and really enjoy helping other companies.
I do.
That's great. So if you have a small business, 10 employees or less, and would like to have someone analyze your workflow, then you can give Misty a call. The information in the contact information, website and all is at the end of this video and also at the bottom of this page. And I'm sure she would be willing to talk to you and see if she couldn't help you out. It's very nice having you in, and I appreciate you coming by.
Thank you for having
Okay,
me.
thank you, and especially this time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.